my God. As if everyday local police officers aren't already demonstrating what lack of discipline and training is and are. Now we have these ICE individuals that just stoop that much lower. The lack of discipline, self-control, and overall training is absolutely appalling. It makes everyday local police officers look like superheroes comparatively. Yikes. I don't even know to be depressed or shocked, but then I remind myself, oh, it's 2026. Why would I be shocked by something like this? A whole new low? That's just, being competed with every month. It's like, for the last year or so, if not couple of years, it's like every month, every other week, someone's trying to compete to make the new low. And, well, now we have ICE agents, apparently. ICE trained individual. I don't want to fucking... just human beings on a all-time power trip because they're being sanctioned by the government to do whatever they want, essentially. And you can tell these bullies are just untrained, undisciplined, lack self-control, lack self-discipline, lack all the necessary things you need to be, ironically, in that position, to be doing the things that they're doing. The most recent thing that obviously caught my attention, and the most recent event that occurred for many people, is, of course, this whole shooting of this Renee individual. And me not being biased to any group, feminism, or any politic group, Republican, I can see both sides and be like, okay, I get it, and okay, I get it, but... So, on the side that people are saying that the officer acted in self-defense, and that the individual this Renee individual should have, went out of the car. Okay, I can actually agree with that. This all could have been avoided if she simply would have just complied, got out of the vehicle, whatever. Easy peasy, hopefully. Being that these untrained, undisciplined people are the way they are, we don't know for sure, but you would like to think that if she cooperated, things wouldn't have escalated, right? But on the flip side here, on the side of, the people that are defending Renee and hating the ICE people, I can also agree that the officer could have easily just booped out of the way, because we all know her intention was most definitely not to hit the individual. Anyone would know. Anyone knows that, regardless if you're in fight or flight mode or whatever the excuse is that he's going to use. Using the firearm was absolutely unnecessary, to put it lightly. You could have easily just moved out of the way, jumped out of the way, whatever, if you truly honestly thought she was going to specifically target you. And because of his choice to continue to stay in front of that vehicle, his foot got ran over. And now these people are going to be like, well, she was obviously out to get him. And they'll be like, well, that's because he stood in the fucking way. So I can see it on both sides here. It could have all been avoided if she just would have complied and got out of the vehicle in the first place. But at the same time, the officer could have, not killed someone and just booped on out of the fucking way. So this is a draw, unfortunately, because both sides have a logical perspective and viewpoint here. And I can't really argue for one way or the other. I'm not going to play favorites. Both sides have very good points. Motherfucker could have just moved out of the way. But this motherfucker in the vehicle could have just stayed in the fucking vehicle and complied. And then, not taking off, could have just got out of the car like they wanted wanted her to in the first place. So, you know, both parties are at fault here. Unfortunately, one has the justified right to use a firearm regardless. Because we all know if this was a civilian, it would have been a different story, and probably charged with murder. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it was not a last resort situation for me, and that's where I'm kind of personally annoyed, because guns are for wimps anyway, and that's just a simple fact here. So when you're so willing to just use your gun whenever you get the smallest little opportunity, even though it could be completely unnecessary and completely avoidable to not use it, but any single tiny little opportunity, no matter how small or insignificant, people like that will pull out their gun and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big badass now," you know. It just it goes a part of the lack of discipline, the lack of training, the lack of self-control. It's easily demonstrable for the ICE agent, but at the same time, you know, this protester Renee also demonstrates that she didn't have the maturity and the just willingness to cooperate either. Because whether you're protesting or whatever your cause, if they're coming at you and ordering you under a lawful command to exit your vehicle, and they have a probable cause to do so because you're interfering in their whatever, then you should comply. So this is unfortunately a two-person fault situation. Unfortunately, one person died because of it, because of one trigger-happy, undisciplined loser. So, you know, that's just how I'm viewing this. Obviously, you know, I'm just unbiased about shit like this, so take it as you will, but that's all I gotta say. So, until next time.